L-avem prin Skype pe domnul Neil McGregor. Hello.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. The weather's very nice in Bucharest.
Yeah, it's better weather than in London, huh?
Why there's so many British people living in Romania?
Okay.
The weather is nicer.
What will be your future here if will be a Brexit?
It would be tricky. I've lived in Romania since 1996, so I know how it was before EU accession of Romania. It's been a great deal easier since both the UK and Romania have been members of the European Union. So I would be concerned if there were a Brexit. But it would depend upon the terms that if it were a UK, because the other angle is that the Scottish National Party has threatened to restart the Scottish separatism debate if there's a vote in the UK, as it is now, to leave the European Union. But there would need to be some kind of treaty between the UK, or what it was at that time, and the EU to say what rights we would have to come and live and work in the remaining European Union.
But can you explain us why British people want this Brexit?
Well, I'm not sure that everyone does. There has always been a degree of uncertainty about what we were told was the common market when we joined in 1973. Now it's not just the common market, it's a great deal more. And although there is talk about a European superstate, I'm not sure if people in the UK feel ready for that. So all the talk of an ever closer union and the question of how accountable the European Parliament is to electors in Europe makes, I think, some British people feel concerned that it weakens their own democracy through the Parliament in Westminster.
Mm-hmm. But why today is a different situation with the situation of 30 years ago or 40 years ago when you decided to join European Union?
Because the European Union is a much larger organization than it was.
But you made it.
Yep. When we joined, it was essentially just Western Europe.
Okay, but you, as a member of European Union, decided to enlarge European Union to come here, and that's made possible you to be here, and so on.
Yes, yes, indeed, it did.
You was part of this decision.
Well, they would say that the government at the time was part of the decision.
Okay, but you are British here.
It was never a matter for a referendum. But my particular concern on it is I watched last year in your presidential election as all Romanians, I gather, had a vote, whether you were in Bucharest, Berlin or Bogota. I did not get a vote in this referendum on whether the UK should stay or go.
We too, in Romania. We didn't have a referendum to access European Union.
You didn't, but no. The good thing about Romania is you always have a vote in national issues like who is the president. You don't need to be living in Romania to have a vote on who is your president. Whereas I live in Romania and I do not get a vote whether the UK should stay or withdraw from the European Union.
Why?
Because they've limited it to people who were living in the UK within the last 15 years.
It's reasonable because can vote only person who pay taxes there, who live there.
Well, no, I'd say it's more than that, because look at your Romanian citizens who may live and pay taxes in other countries, and they still have a right to vote in presidential elections in Romania. Now, again, this affects my position. I'm a British citizen, using my right of free movement in the European Union. And if the decision in the referendum, and it's a simple majority, is to leave, that can affect my position directly. It's rather undemocratic, I think.
Yeah, but how we can explain at a simple person that this situation, we try to be there as Romanian in this European Union, but you British, we will decide if we will be or not.
The simple solution is that in the UK, we know where the border is because we get our feet wet in the sea. We live on an island, and so there is a kind of mindset that being on an island, we are a little bit different from the rest of Europe.
Okay.
Whereas you Romanians and other people living on the continent, your borders are not so much physical. People can move very easily, and borders change over the years. Personally, I think the European is an excellent thing for this part of the world. I think it's a good thing with the right terms for the UK as well. But it doesn't mean that the European Union as it is now is perfect. Now, the British say, and it's still a political issue to say, yes, we think we can get by without membership of the European Union. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But it's perhaps easier to make that argument if you have people who are, let's say, used to living on an island and see themselves as a little bit different from everybody else living on the continent.
Yeah, but you live in an island also 30 years ago, when you want to, when you join European Union. But last question, is it a move, a cynical move from UK? Because someone can tell that, look, UK took all the advantage of European Union 30 years. And now when we have this problem with immigrants, when we have this problem with Eurozone and so on, they decide to leave.
Well, a lot of this stuff that's talked about immigrants, I think, is a pack of nonsense. We've had immigrants for many, many years, not just from other parts of Europe, but from South Asia, from the Caribbean, from Asia and other places. So that really is not an argument, in my opinion. People are saying that we put more money into the European Union than we get benefit back from it. Now, possibly it will be less of an issue when the newer members or the poorer members of the European Union reach the same level of national wealth as the richer ones. But in my view, it's a fairly selfish argument to say that we don't want to be part of this particular project. But it comes down to politics, and I suspect people are not going to vote on the basis of rational arguments. They'll come down to what newspaper headlines are.
Yeah.
And gut feeling.
What is your opinion, your personal opinion on Brexit?
I think it would be a mistake. Not only I think it would be a mistake in terms of the UK, because it would reignite the Scottish separatism debate, which I think would be something we could all do without. I think it would be a bad thing for the European Union and a bad thing for the UK. We may live on an island, but since Louis Blériot first flew from France to the UK, how much of an island is the island anymore?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. McGregor.
Mersi frumos, o zi bună în continuare.